Well, hello, and welcome to the Legacy Insights podcast. And I am your host, Mov'n Mike. And we're here tonight to discuss legacy building, entrepreneurship, and the strategies to guide you to your goals and dreams. Simply put, we're going to provide insight to get your mind and your money right. So it's time to let's get smarter. Tonight we're on episode number 12, right? And before I even begin, let me just tell you what that title of the show is. We're on episode number 12. Your future self is watching. Okay. I just want you to think about that really quick. But I've got some exciting news, right? A few weeks back, um, I decided that I was going to go to a bi weekly show or every first and third Sunday show. And in that time, I felt guilty. I felt really guilty about not showing up for you, my audience, the viewers, the listeners, the learners, because I'm not providing insight to help you get your mind and your money right. And that's why I create this show. So the big announcement is I'm back on a weekly schedule. I took that time, I built out the calendar, coming to you every week like crispy critters. Coming. We're coming every week. We're going to be dropping those nuggets, dropping these shows just for you. So let's go and get on started with this show. I got my trusty show notes here, right? Episode number 12. Your future self is watching. Now, I'm going to frame this out for you. Let me just get this right for you, right? 5 years from now, you're going to meet yourself. And the only question that you will need to answer, and will there be, are you proud of yourself or are you disappointed? Okay. 5 years from now, you're going to meet yourself. So, are you going to be in the same job, same situation, same bills, and same stress? Or are you going to be financially free with time freedom, peace, and less stress? So, I'm going to think about that. In 5 years, where are you going to be? On what side of that fence are you going to be? Stressed out, overworked, underpaid, or financially free, happy, and joyous with time freedom? Right. So this episode isn't about um, comfort. You're already comfortable. That's why most of us are in the situation we are because comfort is the biggest killer of success. This episode and this show is about truth and setting you free. That's why we bring you this show. Your future self is watching, and not only is it watching you, it's watching your decisions. See, because our future is going to be made up by the decisions that we make today and the choices that we choose to make or not make. See, indecision is a choice too, but we need to make some right decisions. So I just want you to stay with me um, because at the end of the episode, I've got some things for you here. You'll know exactly where your life is and where it's headed and how to change it. Right. So I'm setting the stage here. Okay. And you need to know, you just stick with me. So I hope you got your pens and your paper out. You're taking some notes, right? Because this is going to be one heck of an episode here. Um, Here we go. This is the reality, right? The reality that most of us are here, or we're making anywhere between, say, 60 to 100K plus a year income, right? But things still feel tight, right? We know what the economic landscape is like right now. Gas is high. It's been high for a number of years already, so I'm not talking anything new, right? And it always goes up around the holidays and the summer, right? So we know that that 60K to 100 plus K is stretched thin, right? Because they say more money, more problems. Well, you got more money, you spend more, right? You're working hard, but you're not getting ahead. You want to save, right? But you always end up with more month than money. Okay. You want to invest, you want to buy a home, but you don't know where to start. Okay, so I don't want you to feel behind. I just want you to feel like this, like there is a solution, and it starts right here, right now. So let's talk about it. So you're living paycheck to paycheck, basically, right? See, just because you have more money doesn't mean you're not living paycheck to paycheck. A lot of people think because, oh, if I only made X amount of dollars, I would be okay. Well, no, because wherever you go, you take you with you. Okay, and there you are, right? So I'm gonna say that again. Wherever you go, you take you with you. So if you made more, if you're not doing good with money where you're at, what makes you think you're gonna do better when you make more money? You're just gonna spend more of it, right? Because the money isn't the issue; it's the habits. Okay, that's what really is the issue here. So that's why this show is so important, right? There's no real financial plan. A lot of people are fearful because of money issues that they're going to make the wrong decisions, right? So we're going to set you up so that you can make some right ones. Um, and see, the most people say, hey, when I make some more money, you know, um, I'll get it right then. Waiting to get your mind and your money right is the biggest mistake ever you could ever could make, right? Because you can start saving right now. It is your spending habits that are killing you. So whenever you go to the retail stores, or and you get in that line and you pick up something a little extra, right? That's where you start to messing up your financial plan. Okay, you buy coffee out instead of making it at home. You buy lunch at the cafeteria instead of making it at home, right? I brown bag it all the time. Actually, it's healthier and it's less expensive. Okay, you don't tend to overeat or buy extra snacks when you're buying lunch, because when you get in line and they got all the candy and all the sweets and the pastries right along as you go down to the checkout, because they know that last minute's purchase is where they're making their money. Okay, they know you're already hungry, you got your sandwiches, everything, and you're getting from the cafeteria, and when you get, you say, that little sweet taste behind this sandwich or this salad would be real good right now, right? Or you take something back to your desk or your office space and you eat it, right? But that's what's messing up your financial plan, right? Because if you can save $10 a day, right, $10 a day could change your life. So let's keep it moving. Okay, waiting for the right time never comes. Okay. um yeah, I seen something a little earlier today, and I made a note of it. But it says, um I gotta remember it. I gotta remember what it is. It'll come to me. So most people don't fail because they're lazy. That's one of the key things that I want to talk about here, is that they fail because of they fail because they delay, right? Putting it off, saying that it's going to happen later, when I get greater later. That's a real excuse. It's going to get greater later when you talk about money. Because, right, you might make some later, but if you don't start saving what you're making now, the greater may not be as great, right? Because the time value of money. See, your dollar is more valuable right now than it will be tomorrow, right? Because the dollar's constantly losing value, right? You got to start saving right now. So let me ask you this next question. See, because I already asked you about, if you waited 5 years, where would you be? Are you still going to be in the same place, or are you going to be in a better spot? Right. The next question I want to just ask you is, what happens if you don't change? What is your life going to look like if you just, how are you going to feel? Right? How are you going to feel about it? Say if in 5 years, what about 10? What about 20? Okay. Um, if you don't get better at your health. See, because I know the Legacy Insights podcast, we talk about these financial strategies, right? But your health is the biggest financial impact that you can make on your life. So, are you eating better? Are you getting your rest? Are you going for walks? You don't have to go to the gym. You get your steps in. I think it's approximately, you want to get at least 6,000 to 10,000, maybe even 12,000 steps a day. That's a lot, right? That 10 and 12,000 steps a day. It's a couple of miles, right? But if you get in that six, right? Get up off your from your desk, out of that chair, and walk a bit. If you're working outside and you're in the trades like I used to be, you're getting your steps in, but make sure that you're squatting, right? You're taking time to bend your knees, open up your hips, get that blood flowing, okay? Because that's a huge part of your cardiovascular your cardiovascular system is getting those veins open, right? Make them arteries flow. Okay. So let me break it down for you. So if you don't have any savings, emergencies become disasters. If you're not learning how to invest, retirement becomes impossible. Okay. If you don't start saving and building that muscle, it's like anything, any muscle. Saving is just making money, and saving money is just like going to the gym. You got to build this a muscle, right? It's a commitment to we have to keep to better financial health, right? And if you don't have a plan, stress becomes permanent, right? I tend to tell people if you don't have a plan, you're like a ship in the ocean without a rudder. So what you got a motor, right? But you'll just be going fast with the current wherever it's going to take you, right? But you got to have a rudder. You got to be able to steer it, right? One of the rappers said, the good thing is you went a long way. The bad news is you went the wrong way, right? So it's good that you went a long way. The bad news is that you went the wrong way, right? You just you gotta know where you're going, right? And you gotta know that every dollar has a destination. So we're gonna keep that frame of mind right there, right? Imagine still struggling when your kids are all grown up and they're asking you for financial advice in your experience. But because you didn't learn how to take care of your money, right? How are you going to help them? I'm going to tell you the one of the biggest killers of parents' wealth today are their children not having good. Their grown children and growing children not having good money habits. You're constantly bailing out your children. You're constantly helping them with their families, right? A lot of elderly people are doing it because, I came up in the age of accountability. We went to work. We kept a job. No matter what, we kept a job, right? It may not have been the best one, right? But we kept a job. And and then, you know, um, nowadays, you know, jobs are throwaway to a lot of these kids. I don't know what it is, right? But they don't want to work. Not like we did in the previous years. But how are you going to give them guidance if you don't have good money habits yourself? That's what we're talking about here. So, the future self visualization, let's talk about it. I want you to close your eyes and picture your future self. What do they look like? Man, woman, just tell me what what does it look like for you? Think about it. Write it down, right? That's why I said get your pens and your paper out, right? Write it down, you know? And while you're grabbing that paper, let me just tell you, if you're hearing this show for the first time, make sure you hit that subscribe button on the Legacy Insights podcast on YouTube. Tap in with me on a regular because I'm going to be dropping this kind of information all the time. It's really needed out there more than ever now. Okay, we're going to make sure that you get this information to get your mind and your money right. So as you're building that visual in your head, this is the one who didn't change. They're still working harder than they should. They have regret, misplaced opportunities, and they missed them. They missed opportunities, right? And the biggest one, like I said, is to start saving now because your dollars are worth more. And if you don't take the opportunity to learn some things about compounding interest in index type vehicles or tax deferred vehicles, right? You're really going to miss out on the compounding of money over time, right? Because that's what the biggest earner of wealth is starting early, saving, and time, right? You just put a little bit of money in the stock market. It's always going up historically, right? And then saying, I wish I had started sooner. Man, man. I heard um, a, 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 a verbal recording and a poem, And the gentleman was talking about there's only two people in the life that you need to please, right? And it is not your wife, it's not your husband, it's not your children, it's not your job, it's not any of your friends, your parents, or none of that. It's the 8-year-old version of yourself and the 80-year-old version of yourself. Because the 8-year-old inner person only needs to feel safe, warm, protected, right? And that your needs are met and loved, right? And if you have that 8-year-old person inside, basically, is good, right? Because you're adventurous at 8 years old. There's no limits on you at 8 years old. And then that 80-year-old part of you, right, has wants to know that you lived a life well lived, right? That you took the time to smell the roses, to um to enjoy life and all that it had to offer, love, disappointment, achieving, failure is a big part of growing, right, and learning, right. Where a lot of people fail, they get disappointed, but no, it really is um an opportunity to really grow into the person that the creator made you to be, right. So I'm telling you, it was a really motivating recording that I had listened to, the 8-year-old version of yourself and that 80-year-old version of yourself. You want to make sure that both of those people in your inner self are satisfied, right. So their future self, you want to make sure that they're satisfied. So saying I wish it started earlier is huge, right? Now the second version of yourself, the one who took action, okay? They're financially confident, they have options, they're not stuck in survival mode, right? I said there's three places that most people live, okay? Most people live in crisis and in comfort, and they never run to success, right? When you're in crisis, oh man, I just got to get comfortable. I just got to get there, right? My butt's on fire. I got to get out of crisis. And once they get out of crisis, they stop. That's why I say success is the biggest killer of people's dreams, right? Because they feel that they've made it, they've arrived. They don't have to do anything else. But see, no, success is a daily achievement, right? Like I tell people all the time, the rent is due every day. You don't pay the rent just on the first of the month, right? The rent is due every day, right? And so is success, right? It's due every day. If you really want to be where you want to be, where you don't have to struggle, have options, right? That we're talking about here, not stuck in survival mode, right? Get out of crisis, get to comfortable, take a breath or two, and keep it moving to success. Okay. you know, the second option is teaching their kids what they have never learned, right? You want to be able to teach your kids, right? The strategies and that they have options if they get started right now. Good money habits, right? You just got to teach them what they never learned, right? Because they're not teaching all this stuff in school. They're not teaching kids how to balance a checkbook, how to open an account, how to put money away, to be their own boss. They're not doing that. Okay. So the only difference between those two people is what you decide to do today. Huge. All boils down to a decision. It boils down to you. That's the last pillar in the 6 pillars of the legacy framework. Okay. That why you. Okay. Let's keep it moving. So listen, the first pillar, right? Great segue. The first pillar is learn. Okay. You can't fix what you don't understand. So you got to learn how to budget, learn how to build your credit, the savings basic, right? So you might want to think about doing a zero-based budget or something along that line, something like the snowball method. I've got some resources that I'm working on. I've been talking about it. I'm working on it. Believe me, I am. When you don't see me, I'm working. I'm working to bring you some real strategies and products and services, that will allow you to move yourself from where you are to where you're going. Second pillar, okay, um, elevate. You increase your income. You got to get some side hustles. You got to get some skills and some promotions, right? I'm gonna tell you right now. I decided to take another course in business data analysis. Okay. You know reason why? Because I really want to be able to put some reports and dig into the trends of what's going on in the financial markets and in when I'm working with clients, right? To say, okay, this is where you're going. This is what's happening with your money, right? And so as if I can do that, I'm even more valuable to them, right? So you got to upskill all the time. Be a student. Always be a student. Never stop learning. Okay. Commit to learning 10 minutes a day, if nothing else, right? Commit to learning. Um, Pillar number three, guard. Protect what you built. Emergency fund, insurance. Listen, insurance is no longer a luxury. Insurance now is a financial strategy. Oh, I don't believe in insurance. Well, insurance is not a religion. You don't have to believe in it. You have to use it, right? Insurance is not a religion. You got to use it to build your financial legacy, right? Because guess what? If something happens to you, and this is a direct question, if something happens to you, how long would your family survive? How long would your wife or your husband or the kids, how long would they go? Who's going to pay the car note? It's two income families now, right? Like who's going to send them to college? Who's going to make sure that, they keep a roof over their head after you're gone? So insurance is no longer just, they're going to get my money. What? Really? Yeah, I guess got to ask the question then. What you get married for? What you have children for if you ain't going to take care of them? Like this show is not about making you comfortable. It's about talking about truth. Okay. That's what this boils down to. So, hey, you got to take care of your family. You got to put things in place to take care of them if you're that responsible individual. Okay. Basic protection, right? Basic protection. Pillar number four, alignment. This is a huge, huge pillar in the legacy framework. Your money must match your values. Stop spending to impress people who don't care, right? And now, and I talk about finances in the show and money habits, right? But check it out. Alignment, alignment, most people that you see are frustrated, tired, worn out, um, always agitated is because they're not in alignment with their own values or their own ideals. Okay. So to be in alignment, okay, it, you first got to know where you want to go. You got to first know where you want to go. Then you got to put the action into play, right? And then you got to commit to it, right? So if any of those three things are out of alignment, if you're not, you don't have a solid plan in your mind, right? You don't put it into action and you don't commit to it, right? You're going to be off the beaten path. You're never going to achieve it, right? So a lot of people say what they want to do, but they don't have a plan, and then they don't commit to it, or they have a plan, they know what they want, they put some action to it, but they don't commit to it, right? Inconsistency, and I'll be the first one to tell you, I drift because I got a lot going on. But you know what I have to do? I have to write it down. I have to put it on the schedule, right? I started the show off saying I did a whole new calendar when the time was off, just so I could be here for you on a regular basis because I'm committed to helping all of you to get your mind and your money right. Tap in with me. Hit that subscribe button at the Legacy Insights podcast. Let's get this thing going. Okay. So that's what you want to do in that alignment. You want to make sure that you're having conversations with your family. You're making sure that the action matches the talk, and the plan matches the action, and so on and so on and so on. And then you're constantly revising it to make sure that you're moving forward, right? Because action doesn't equal impact. A lot of people say, "Oh, I'm so busy. I'm so busy. I'm so busy." 5 weeks later, it's in the same spot. I'm so busy. I'm so busy. I'm so busy. Well, what did you accomplish? What did you get from all that action, all that busy? Okay, hear me out. Pillar number 5: change. Break the generational habits. This is how we've always done it. It ends with you, right? So breaking these generational habits, like living paycheck to paycheck, not being able to teach your children how to get their mind and money right, so that they have good money habits, so that when they get older, they're not coming back to you saying, hey mom, dad, you know what, I need to borrow a couple thousand, right? I don't have the money for my mortgage or for my rent. Things are getting expensive, right? So now the money that you thought you were putting away for your retirement is going to the kids because they don't have good money habits, right? You didn't teach them, you didn't show them, you didn't talk to them, you didn't practice any yourself. So now you don't have enough to do what you needed to do, right? So you can't say you don't know anymore, right? Right? Ignorance used to be a luxury. I'm pulling covers on all that. I'm pulling covers on all that. Pillar number 6 comes down to you. YOU, right? Mindset is everything. Discipline over motivation. Motivation will fail you. Discipline will carry you through. Okay? Let's keep it going. That's the 6 pillars of the legacy framework, right? And like I said, I'm going to do a master class on those 6 pillars because you need to dive into those. I just skimmed across them, right, to let you know that they're here, they're working for you. Tap in with me, hit that subscribe button, keep listening to these episodes, go back to the previous episodes, listen in. Okay, so the system works if you work the system, right? The legacy framework is designed to elevate you, to get you in alignment, to change you, right? To guard you. All right. So listen, it's all there. It's all there. So, right, why people don't change? First number reason: fear of failure, or fear of doing something on your own, right? Why people don't change? Because they don't want to leave the same 5 block radius they grew up in. Or how about their fear of going out there and having to come back and say it didn't work out? Well, hey, like I told you, fear, false evidence appearing real. Fear. There's nothing to be afraid of. Most things that you're afraid of will never hurt you in the first place. Okay? Trying something new, of course you're going to fail. Of course you're going to suck at it. It's new. You've never done it before, right? But it's okay because you practice. I don't know if you've played sports, played an instrument, public speaking, whatever it might be. You got to practice, right? And then you'll get better. Okay. So the number one reason people uh they are comfortable in their routine. We just talked about it. Lack of clarity. They don't have a plan. They didn't really sit down and think it out. They didn't talk to anybody else. They just went out there haphazardly and just started doing something. Right? You got to learn. That's the first pillar. You got to learn that L. Waiting for the perfect time. Are you kidding me? Perfect time. There's no such thing. Right? So real talk. Comfort is costing you your future. That's the go. There you go. Right? Comfort is costing you your future. Right? People run from crisis to comfort, and it's killing you. It's killing you. It's killing your family. It's killing their dreams. It's killing your vacation. It's killing your opportunity to travel. Listen, one of my goals in life is to travel the world, and I already started. I already started, right? And I know it's not about me, right? But if I could do it, I know you can do it. If I can travel and make big plans and book tickets to go places, other countries, you can do it. Believe me, didn't think it was ever possible at a point in my life. So some of you out there who know me, right, know where I'm coming from. Okay, so let's talk about it. Let's keep it 100 around here. Okay, if I can do it, anybody can do it. Here we go. Comfort is costing you. So You don't need perfection. You just need progress, one step at a time. I actually seen this man on TikTok. He's walking from Philadelphia to California to raise money for kids to go to college back in Philly. And you know what happened to him? My son showed me today. As he's pushing his cart, walking from Philadelphia to California, in Indiana, a woman hit him as he's walking on the side of the road in broad daylight. He's pushing his cart. He's got his live stream and he's going. Next thing you know, bam, bam, boom. Knocked him, his cart, everything all over the place. Thank God she didn't kill him. Right? But I tell you that because one step at a time, he's going to make it to California. He doesn't have to be perfect. He's not going to get there in perfect shape, right? Because I know his feet going to be hurting. We call that Pat and Turner. He's going to be real. His feet going to hurt. Okay, but he's going to make it. But he's doing it one step at a time, right? So he's from Indiana, from Philly to Indiana. That's one hell of a walk, right? So you don't need to be perfect. You just need progress. So I need you to start writing this down, right? Write down your current financial situation, income, debt, savings. Don't hide anything. Okay. Write it down because you got to know where to start, where you're at, where you're starting, and what you got to pay, right? And then what the difference between as your savings. Okay. So then I want you to take it one action within the next 24. I want you to open a savings account, review your budget, or research investing basics. Like I said, you got to start learning. That's the first pillar in the legacy framework. You got to learn, right? You got to invest some time in yourself, okay, in your education. I want you to set up a 7-day commitment. Small wins build momentum, okay? That's what you want to do. You want to set up a 7-day commitment and then do it. Get it done, okay? What does that look like, okay? Like I just told you, you want to set up a savings plan. You want to set up a budget, right? You want to get those things done in 7 days. You want to get them done, right? Check that off. I want you to put it in the comments, right? Hey, Mike, I got this done, right? I got that budget. I got that savings account, right? Get it done, right? Okay. So here we go. Your future self is watching you, not judging you, but waiting on you. That's some deep stuff right there, right? Your future self is watching and waiting on you, right? You got to show up for yourself today, right? And I'm just going to keep sharing these things because I'm constantly listening. The world is sending me messages all the time. I'm listening to Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher, one of the number one speakers in the country today. As a matter of fact, almost in the world, right? Everybody knows Eric Thomas, ET, right? Dr. Eric Thomas, right? He's one of my mentors, if you don't know. Okay. Um, I'm on with him and his crew at once or twice a week. Actually, yeah, 3 times a week. I'm on with Eric Thomas and his crew, training and developing in this platform. Okay, because that's what we do. We want to bring you all of the information that we can share with you. Right? That's what ET does. That's what he's training me to do, and hundreds of other people, thousands of other people. Okay. Um, your future self is waiting on you, right? You don't need more time. You need a decision to start right now. 5 years from now, don't let that version of you say, I wish you would have started when you had the chance. Come on now. Come on now. Don't let the future you be disappointed because you didn't make a decision today. Your family's counting on you. You're counting on you, right? And like Dr. Thomas was sharing with us, right? Just like you get upset with the person who didn't show up for you, right? They didn't keep their promises to you. I was going to be there, and they gave you all this, hey, I'm your boy, I'm your girl, I'm your home girl. I got you. I got your back. And then they didn't show, right? Don't be just like you're disappointed with them. Get disappointed with yourself because when you break promises to yourself. Okay? That's the mic drop right there. Don't keep being mad at everybody else for them disappointing you. Get mad with yourself when you disappoint you. Okay, that's huge. That's huge. And then you take that disappointment in yourself and you turn it into action, fuel to burn, to move yourself forward, because that's all it takes, right? You don't need everybody. You don't need everybody. You just need a few people. You need yourself most of all. Okay, so we're gonna wrap this up, right? This is Moving Money Mike, and here at the Legacy Insights podcast, we don't just talk about money; we build legacies. Now, go get your mind and your money right. I want to thank you for the privilege of your time. It's always a pleasure to show up, show out, and provide guidance, right? Because see, I not only talk about it, I walk it, I talk it, I live it, I breathe it. And with that, we'll say good night.